Guys, it's Petunia Gal, and we are back over in Planet Zoo in our Heartland Zoo. And I'm going to do something a little bit different on this episode. I know this is like the third elephant habitat video that has been out, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to record this whole thing and go back to square one, delete all of this stuff, flatten the land, all of that, and start over. See what we can do, make it look more exciting, and I definitely don't like this part. So yeah, let's get to the speed build part, and I will be back after that. See you in a bit. So we're going to start with the outside of this habitat. I'm trying to do a bit of a viewpoint here. And let me know what you guys think about this speed build. I'm trying to kind of cut out the parts that, I guess, the boring parts, if you want to call it that. And also the parts where I move the camera around too much. I don't really want to add that into the speed build. But I do my best to keep those at a minimum. So I try to get the habitat barriers as far away from the path as I can, but as kind of symmetrical. So I decided to go ahead and make a natural barrier in the back here. I don't know how well it turned out, but I think it turned out okay. Trying to figure out how to do this because I would like this to be mainly water over here and just a little bit of land. So after a while I'd kind of tackle the inside, trying to get more land in there. But for now, I think that's okay. Just to have a barrier that helps not have to have one of the in-game barriers. And that helps with, not having the whole, the barrier is breaking down or whatever. Because there's not a natural barrier, there's not a game barrier in there. But we do our best. So I have a kind of a tricky time figuring out this corner, and we get to it eventually, but it doesn't look too good in the meantime. It just looks like a whole bunch of just lumps on the ground, but it's okay. So I do end up doing this a lot. I cut out a lot of it because it's just trying to mess with the land, getting it the way I want it, and mainly getting the water level where I want it because I want it to be as far up as possible on this because it's going to be an underwater viewing. That's what I wanted for this section of the habitat. And again, we are going to do a bridge over it like we did before, but I like to think I put a lot more effort into this one than the last one. Let me know what you guys think, if you guys like it, or what you think I could do better as far as the speed build goes. I'm not a huge fan of speed builds, but since this is the third episode of an elephant habitat build, I wanted to kind of do a speed build and get it done. And I wanted to do these pillars here because, elephants, they don't need much to keep them in their habitat. They just need pretty much these columns. They're big animals. They can't just jump out of something or squeeze through something. So I do my best with that. And then we're back to trying to figure out the shape of this. It's it works out in the end, I think, but yeah, it's okay. So this corner was a real mess. I don't know why I was having such trouble with it, but yeah, I was. So I tried to put rocks in to hopefully stop any water from being able to get through. See those rocks? I don't use them, so it just I eventually just put in a random wall here. It's a little crazy, but it works, so we'll stick with it. But that habitat gate, I didn't leave that in. It is still in at the end of this episode, but I do take it out and put it on the other side, so I didn't leave any of that build in. But I did want to leave this in just to show you guys how to use the shape tools if you didn't know already. They're pretty easy to once you get used to them. They're really a good thing to use just to give yourself a little bit more control over the terrain because the terrain in this game can be pretty crazy. And yeah, so we do some more terrain work there, and I add more pillars here to keep the elephants in. But I don't really like this corner, but it's fine. Go ahead and start going on to the next section of the habitat. And I'm still using curved barriers. I think that's cool to keep a little bit of keep it a little bit less structured, I guess is what you would say. But yeah, I just put the null barrier around that side, and then we're good. We got that going, so that's super cool. Now we just have to get. I do this twice for somehow I accidentally get rid of the pillars there, but it's okay. So again, trying for a curved viewpoint here, and it's kind of tricky, but we do our best, and I think it comes out pretty good. Again, it's not a circular one here, and I think I cut out most of it. I don't know. But I do keep the section where I'm working with the path, because I kind of want you guys to see that it does take a lot sometimes to get the path to work, but as long as you keep at it and you know what you want to happen, eventually it will. Eventually you can get it to happen most of the time. So I wanted it to be a circular area here, kind of a oval area, I guess you would call it. But yeah, it was just the connection there I wasn't happy with it. So I just kept trying and trying. And again, if you hit control, you can break the connection so you can start a path somewhere else. See, now it works. Yay. But yeah, so after we get that in, I try to get the barrier to be how I want around the path. I wish there was, because there is an option to snap the path to the barrier, but I wish there was an option to snap the barrier to the path. That would be super cool. But oh well, they don't do that. So we're putting these pillars here. I say it later on at the end of the video, but those pillars, I know they're not like elephant proof. They're not like super strong pillars, but let's just pretend like they're steel, and then we'll go from there. So I used the Australian wood piece. I really like these. They're super cool, but try to figure out a better bridge to do. So we're gonna do these over here and move them when we're done. But I wanted to go ahead. You see, I copy that there, and then we'll just select a certain amount and bring those up a bit, just add a little bit of height. I probably could have moved them up even more. I don't think I moved them enough, but we get that set up here. And I cut a lot of this out because I do a lot of turning around and moving the camera to see how it works on different angles, so I do cut a bunch of that, but I think it works out pretty good. I tried to get it not have it on the path, because then the animals, for one, it'll affect their traversable area, and for two, I don't like when animals or people walk through my stuff. I just don't like it. It's annoying. So as you can see, I accidentally selected one of those pillars on the other side. Eventually I get rid of that, but I'm trying to figure out something to put underneath now, and I do try to put something on the bottom, but I don't like that too much. This one I try to put kind of as something holding it, which I should probably go back and add something like that, but I don't do it this time. So we're gonna use this painted pillar here. I think it's wood pillar painted, something like that. But yeah, again, I have to move the camera back and forth and get it aligned right. But we have it, and now we're just going to change the color and copy it over all the way to the end. And I keep some of this in, and then the rest, since you guys have seen it, I just cut it out. But let me know what you guys think about what I leave in, what I take out. If you guys would like to see something else, definitely let me know. Again, if you do Control X to move something, usually you can select something different and see it in the view of, what it'll look like if you put that in, if that makes any sense. Kind of like what I did there. But yeah, so we're just going to copy this over, and then we're going to work on the ramp down. I wasn't quite sure what to do with this. I would really love if I could just use the Australian floor, but it won't, you can't angle it. So, unless there's something I don't know, because it is a grid piece, so it only goes one direction. So yeah, it's kind of stinks, but we get something in the end that I think works pretty good. But you guys could let me know. Let me know what you guys think. And so I thought about just putting this all the way over, but then I decided, nah, that doesn't look good. I wanted a plank look, so I was going to try to do this climbing piece, but the climbable pieces, but I'm like, no, I would rather have it more custom than that. So that's what we do here. Just trying to find the right piece. I don't really know the pieces very well, and as far as custom building, because I don't do a ton of it. But yeah, we settle on this. I think it looks pretty good, and we just have to get it lined up right, and then I do a lot of copying and pasting, and you guys will see some of that. Some of that I'll cut out because you've already seen it. But I wanted to make it a little random, so we go ahead and move them up and down, and don't have anything right next to each other. So I think it works out pretty good. So we'll take this. Had to move it over just a little bit, but also we're gonna select everything so we can copy it down and use it. Again, I don't like the way the grid works here, or the control works here to move these, but we do our best to get them moved into place. And now we're just selecting various ones, and that way, I think I group those, and then that way I can change the whole group, which works out pretty good, I think. And we'll go ahead. I was going to copy the whole thing and realized I didn't need to do the whole thing. So we just copy the top and move it over to the other side. And then we will go ahead and change it around, and it works out pretty good, I think. Just move those pieces up a little bit. So we're going to get these little pieces back so they go into the ground, because, I just did a random piece, and I want to go ahead and get this shorter because we don't need this whole thing into the ground, because we just need a little tiny piece. But we do our best there, and for some reason I cannot get the color right, but it comes out in the end, so we're good. And then we will go do some other stuff for the kind of threshold here on the bridge. I think it turns out pretty good. You still have kind of the seams on each side, but I don't think it matters too much. I just try to get it as close to the floor piece we have there as possible, so it's not sticking up too much. I mean, not that we're going to pay attention to the elephant, glitching through that little tiny piece. But here we go, putting the pillars in again. And again, I'm going to select a couple of them and copy them and move them up, so there's just a little bit of a height difference. Again, I don't think I do that great at the height difference, but it's okay. So this one, I just want to make sure I'm trying to get it where the outside of the boundary of the habitat is away from the bridge, because that's the problem we had before, was we didn't have the boundary of the habitat right, and so every time he would go over the bridge, everybody would run away and be scared. So this is where I figure out I made a huge mistake. Didn't check the traversable area way earlier before I built this whole bridge, but it's okay. We just select what we need and then copy it so we can make the bridge a little bit wider. I'm having some issues here deselecting things I don't want, but again, you just have to hit control to deselect the stuff you don't want, and shift to select the stuff you do, which is pretty easy. So I cut this part out, but I just go ahead and copy the things I need and delete the things I don't. And then I thought I kept it in here, but I looked at the traversable area and the elephant couldn't get off the bridge. So I'm just adding some climbable area there. And I add like 4 pieces, and that seems to have done the job. So that's super cool. So if you're ever having trouble getting animals to walk over something that you built, try just putting a climbable piece underneath, and hopefully that'll work. And now I'm trying to figure out a shelter, and I don't want to use any of the ones that they have because they're too big. Unfortunately, the one I come up with probably won't work if we get more than 1 or 2 elephants in here, but it'll work for now. And I was thinking maybe making a kind of an odd shaped shelter was cool, but as I get into it, I'm like, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. So I cut out quite a bit because I have to do a lot of just moving things around, trying to get them to fit right. And then I do a lot of split from grid so I can move things separately. I still don't understand the grid pieces. Like they just don't make sense to me. I don't know why, but we do our best and get, I think, a pretty good shelter going. I want to do the curved pieces in the front, so we do that, and then I decide I don't want these 2 pieces we did because they're not going to fit in right now. But yeah, it works out pretty good. So we just go ahead and build up the front, and then on the sides, I'm just going to use the flat pieces. What I don't realize is the ones I use actually flare out. You can see it there; they flare out on the bottom. So I do eventually, not in this video, but I do go back and delete the bottom part and add this up at add this to the bottom, and then add the other pieces to the top, because it didn't quite make sense to have it flare out when it goes back to normal on the other side. So I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but that's what I did. So do a lot of maneuvering around here trying to get pieces to fit. Again, I should have just done, a box. It would have been a lot easier, but I didn't. So, we get something eventually. I decided to just use the roof, the thatch roof pieces, the flat ones. I don't quite like the way the pattern is when you have them all together, since they don't connect very good. They have I don't know what the word is, but they don't connect right. So I don't know if I necessarily like it. I may go back and change it, but we do our best with what we have right now, and I think it turns out pretty good in the end. Put another piece up here, and I do eventually go in and move those down so there's not that weird space in between that piece and the piece underneath. Now we're just going to put some enrichment in. I'm working on getting them a little bit more land, because as you can see, the water part is more than fine, but the land is not quite good enough. So do our best to get that situated there. Then I add some more columns. I don't put that in the video because you guys have seen me do that. I do realize that they're all slanted, so I might have to go back and fix all of those, but for now we're good. Just checking that they have enough traversable area here. That's the problem with the elephants. They take up so much space. Their hitbox is so big that no matter what you put in, it's going to affect their traversable area. But I do want to put this, I call it the waterfall enrichment. I don't remember what it's actually called. But I do want to put that in, and then kind of want to ground it into the water. So we'll go ahead and do that with these rocks. Probably could have added something on top to make it look like it's really like cemented into the rock, but oh well. Now I figure putting some kind of a splash would be nice. I hate watching the water effects in fast forward because it's just so fast. But I think that turns out pretty good. I like it. I could probably add some more stuff around it, but it's okay for now. So now we're just gonna look up for the nature, so we can add some trees and stuff. I always like adding trees; it's always the best. But again, the traversable area is definitely a thing to watch out for when you're adding any kind of trees or grass or plants, anything like that. Because yeah, it can definitely affect your elephants or any animals you put in, but especially the elephants because they're huge. But I think we did a pretty good job. So the only thing left is adding some soil and ground for them. Okay, so I think we are done getting the elephant all taken care of. Like I said at the beginning, this is like the third elephant habitat build we did, or at least episode. But I wanted to do that little speed build. I'm not sure how long it's going to end up because I've got a lot of editing to do. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it because I'm not quite sure. Let me know what you think about these beams, which I know look a lot, look like they're not going to stop like an elephant from going through them. But we'll just pretend like they're steel beams. I don't know. If we do get a female and get a baby in here, we are going to have to rethink a bit of stuff because the elephants, you know, we don't really need a habitat barrier per se because they're so big that they can't get through these pillars here. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about it. If you guys like this, I may have to move this one though. If you guys like this or just the regular barrier. And honestly, this is my first true like speed build that I've done. I'm pretty happy with it. Obviously, we could do a whole lot more. And we may, I kind of worry about putting stuff like rocks and plants in because I'm afraid it's going to interfere with the traversable area too much. But if we look at this and go to habitat, it looks like we've got pretty good traversable area other than the fact that we're gonna have to move this, I think, because that's the thing is their traversable area is really hard to deal with, especially I mean, they're such big animals. So let me know what you guys think about the habitat, and let me know what you think about this bridge. I like it. I would like to have done this all over, but it can't be like tilted. So you know, I did what I could. But as you saw in the speed build, I did take these planks, and let me go down a little bit. I took these planks and I grouped some of them and just changed the color so they look a little bit different. I think it came out really good. Obviously, it's not super easy to tell here, but you saw in the speed build. So, yeah. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I promise this is the last elephant episode there's going to be. If I do anything else, it'll just be off camera just to see if I can make it better. So, yeah. And if you are new to my channel or haven't already, go ahead and hit that to subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell to get notified of videos as they come out. And if you want to play this game or check out any of my social media or Patreon links, they're all down below in the description. Check those out and come over and have some fun over there. And if you have any questions, comments, tips, anything like that, leave those down below in the comment section. Love seeing those, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. And I think that is it. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a super blessed day, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.